Streaming live around the world, this is Paper Cuts.
Why don't we start our own show?
With Brad Proctor.
I forgot to break up my fancy straw.
You sound insane. Do you realize that?
And Jay Maddox.
We're called Paper Cuts? Who came up with that name?
We need like some name tags with our picture on it, all laminated and whatnot. I mean, we gotta look legit, man.
We are live.
You know, Brad, I'm just happy you're here with me.
It's glad to be back, man.
I mean, I missed you, 5 days ago?
Is this 3 in a row now? I think it's a new record. I actually think it is a new record.
And you know, we have the most inconsistent schedule too. It just keeps the audience on their toes, really.
That's okay. It shows who the true fans are when they show up on an inconsistent schedule.
So what are we doing on a Thursday evening? Well, evening for us, is it like early supper time out on the West Coast? I'm not sure. Our guests this evening, 2018, this duo exploded onto the horror book scene with a creation of Nightworms, a book club where you pay monthly. You receive a package of books, magazines, publisher freebies, goodies, coupons, and a few Nightworms exclusives. Everyone, say hello to Sadie and Ashley.
Hey,
what's going on, guys?
We really need that applause sound effect.
We need to get a soundtrack going.
We say that in the show too.
That's in the budget for next year.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
We blow our budgets on these little game shows. Is what we do.
So because you two admitted you were newbies to our show, which thank you, we appreciate it. We try to keep it really nice, relaxed, laid back here at Paper Cuts. So to start things off, could you both give us your top 10 philosophies about running a business?
Oh God.
No, we don't. I don't think we are. We going to start a business, Brad? Top 10 philosophies. Let's go. Do it.
That'll tank really quick if we start a business.
Yeah, really. So we appreciate you guys stopping in and chatting with this.
So everybody knows you all from Nightworms, but let's get to know the real Sadie and Ashley. How did you all meet each other?
Who wants to go?
You.
No. Okay. Well, actually, we just met on Bookstagram. We were just online friends, and I had mentioned to her where I lived, and she was like, "No way! I love that place." And I was like, "You know this place?" And then they ended up moving up here because she has like family up here, and they were looking to move, and that's how it happened.
We met online first. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. No, she was living in California.
Now. That's your story. What's your story about it, Sadie? Same way?
Yeah, it's basically the same. I mean, when we were on Bookstagram, though, we would like talk all the time in our private messages. So we developed like a friendship, which is like how you do with online friends. And then when I moved up to her area, then we met at a coffee shop. And at first it was like kind of awkward. Like, you talk to this person for like 3 years and then they're right in front of you and you're kind of like, hey.
I was like, you're so tall.
I am really tall. And then it was just, we just fell right into it. So
to blow your all's minds that you lived that close, relatively close, and you didn't know for the longest time?
No, she was in a different state at first.
Okay.
Yeah, I was in California.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what happened from this online friendship to real life friendship to let's be business partners? How did that escalate?
That's a big step.
That's a big step, yeah.
Well, we were friends for a while. I mean, like we had talked for a month and we're like, let's start a business together.
You didn't meet at the coffee shop and start sharing notes about the business?
No, we were friends for probably a couple of years already. And then we had just talked about all these weird ideas that we had. Like Nightworms wasn't our first idea. We were like, oh, let's do something. We just wanted to do something. We just like to do things. And then all of a sudden this opportunity kind of just fell into our laps because the community needed like a horror subscription box. And we were like, we can do that. So
yeah. And we had both repped for different companies before. So, we had talked about like different mistakes that we thought companies had made and different good things that companies we were repping for had done. And we were just kind of keeping like a mental tab of like all the cool things that we thought a business should be and what it would look like.
So you were in the horror community before Nightworms, just doing your separate things.
Yeah, we were mostly just promoting everybody else, but for a long time, and then we have our own thing.
Yeah,
Brad, there's hope for us yet, man.
You never know.
I don't know about that, Jay.
horror
This is the top
soaps.
of the mountain for us. So Nightworms started in 2018. Was it always, did it start out as sending out packages, or was there something with Nightworms first and then the packages came later?
We actually had it was like a reviewing team of people with our friends, and we would read books together, sort of like a night, like the Nightworms has our book parties still on our, blog for our website. But I mean, we would just get together and read a book together. And then all of us post our reviews because, we always just kind of believe that reviews are an integral part of the indie fiction community and getting the word out there. So we did that first. And then Ashley and I, as we started evolving our own business side of the deal, then it transitioned into our business.
Was there anything like, because people always say you shouldn't go to business with your friends. Was there any hesitation about doing it all, or just you didn't worry about that? Or
I mean, I'm just scared of everything in general. So
just go for it.
And I've never had a business, and I still am like, what am I doing half the time? And so, I mean, yeah, I was scared, not of Sadie, but just of like responsibility.
You weren't scared of her looming over you and saying, you need to do this.
I probably try to quit on her like once a year, so she's used to it.
I'm always like, oh no, it's that conversation.
I have to have a breakdown once a year. Come on.
Is that in the contract?
The contract breakdown once a year.
No, but I really admire her too, because we're in different stages of life. Like my kids are grown. I have 2 kids that are out of the house, and then I have a 15-year-old at home who pretty much just does, his own independent thing most of the time. But she has a younger child at home that she's still, very much kid wrangling a lot of the time. So, I mean, I always have to be sensitive to like that situation where I get really entrepreneurial and like, let's do this, let's scale the business this way, let's fucking blow it up. And she's always like, no, we're good.
let's take it back a notch.
Yeah.
So with that said, though, I mean, where do you see the business going in the next 5 years? Do you want to get bigger? Do you want to bring more people in to help work? Do you want to get a bigger audience, or what?
We're kind of at that transition phase right now, I think. We've been doing a lot of, just in the last couple of days, talking about how that's going to look and the things we need to do to change to be able to scale a little bit more. So I'm definitely a person who's like, no, we need to take it a month at a time. I'm not thinking that far. So I don't know. I don't know what Sadie's thoughts are, but that's how I am. I'm always like, no, I can't. I can't think that far.
I think we have breaking news here, don't we? Uh-oh.
No.
Well,
I just unraveled something.
I can tell you guys and give you guys the exclusive on the fact that we are seriously considering the fact that we're going to maybe have our own private space for Nightworms. Like,
that'd be cool.
As of now, it kind of just fills up whatever blank space I have in my house, but we're trying to make a dedicated spot for Nightworms, which is really exciting for us.
I think I've seen pictures in the garage boxes.
My garage.
Shipping in pallets of books.
Yeah.
So just you two are putting the packages together then? Are you pulling people from your family, telling them to help out, or is it just you two putting everything together?
We have our families help us with like the packing, but for the most part, we force them to do it. So hopefully, soon, that's part of it too, is with having a business is like, there's just so many like rules and boring things that nobody cares about. And so try to make sure we're doing it all correctly before we have other real life people help us
do all the dirty work for you guys.
There you go.
Just the real life people. I mean, we've had like my son one time, the mail truck showed up and it was one of our bigger orders, and my mailman, it was like one of the like a super hot day, and I just was looking at the big bins full of packages, and I called my son and I was like, please come over and help me and the mailman load these packages. And he's like, I can't, I'm at work. And so he literally asked his roommate, hey, if you're not doing anything, go over and help my mom load up these packages.
That's a good son. That's a good son.
Helped. I know. He was such a nice friend. And we, kicked him down some money, and we've paid my son in Red Bull and candy before. So.
Red Bull and candy.
We learned our lesson about that. Do not pay 15-year-olds before they do the job, because he was trying to quit halfway through.
They slack off.
He was just like, this is exhausting. I don't want to move books anymore.
So from your first package, how many packages did you around sell for your first one? Do you remember?
Oh yeah, we am I here? Okay. We did a 100. Like that was
100.
we just wanted to sell 100 for our first pre-order and see what happened. And yep.
And you're selling your new one right now, or is it sold out already?
It's gone.
Yeah.
But how many did you sell this time?
That's top secret information.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Wow,
more
I
more
wasn't
than,
gonna go
more
get
than
that.
100.
You
More
know,
than
our
100.
competition is just sitting there like,
know.
yes, how many?
Well, I think people just try to do the math in their head and think like we're making all this money and we're millionaires. And we're like, you know how much these books cost? Like,
Yes, they're
we're
not
paying the
free.
people a lot of money.
Right. So that was my next question. Like, where did these books actually come from? Are you guys buying them yourself and putting them in
Yeah.
there? Okay.
Yeah,
Because I mean, I was just wondering how you got some of the bigger ones like Stephen King and Josh Mallerman and S.A. Cosby and those. Like, you're getting them ahead of time and putting them in these packages yourself. Okay. I didn't know if you had worked out a deal with the publisher or what. So
Nobody gives anything away for free. That's
Right.
not how it works.
Do you all like reach out to the publisher and say, I want to buy 1,000 copies of Goblin for our subscription box? Or
Yeah. Well, I think most publishers, there's the big whatever, 5 or 3 or however many there are, and they have a ton of little publishers beneath them. So we just have accounts with the main publisher, and then we just can work it out through them. So we have contacts at most publishing houses that we can get books through.
yeah. What's
go ahead.
No, you go.
I was going to say that probably took some time to build up a rapport with those. Like, look at the packages early on compared to the packages now. Like, how much of an improvement has there been? You weren't getting Stephen King the first time, right?
Well, no, because we didn't know what we were doing.
Okay.
And now we have tons of contacts, and it's kind of nice because most of our sales reps, we work with consistently. So it's not like every time I want a new book, I have to find a new contact. I'm just like, this is an imprint of your publisher. Can we get this?
Has there been any book you all have gotten that was like, oh, you were kind of shocked that you got it for the Nightworms package?
I don't think it's really that. I mean, it's not really difficult to get them. But like, for example, in March, we had the sanatorium, and we planned so far ahead. So we probably picked the sanatorium in like November, right, Sadie? Like around Thanksgiving.
At least
And then in February, like Dom Reese Witherspoon was like, I'm going to have this in my book club, and then like totally sold it out everywhere. And we were like freaking out because they said they couldn't fulfill our order. And it was madness, but we got it figured out.
So it was pretty nerve-wracking then, someone else stealing all your books from you.
Yeah, because it blew up, and Costco was ordering it, and all the Barnes and Nobles were ordering it. So it was selling out.
Yeah, and too, it's like we liaison with the authors pretty regularly sometimes too. And in the beginning, we were able to have authors sign books because we were a little bit smaller. Right. So the shipment of books would go to their house, and then they would sign the books and ship it back to us. But then as we were growing, and Thunderstorm's awesome because they do signature sheets, so we can partner with him and get signed books anytime we want. But we can't do hardcover signed books anymore because it's just too much, to process that 2 or 3 times. The books get too banged up in the process, but the signed book plates are really fun.
Yeah.
I don't mind the book plates. I know some people get upset about those, but I'm fine with either one. I don't mind.
It's still a signature.
Yeah, exactly. So what's the process? I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, I've been happy to see that so many people love the signed book plates, and they consider it a signed book still. They're like, oh, look at all these signed books I have from Nightworms. And I'm like, that's awesome.
As long as they put the sticker in straight.
Yeah, right.
That's just an extra bonus to your package. Oh, the book is signed as well, or you have the signature plate to put in your book. It's just an extra thing on top that makes it better than what you just get it at the store or whatever.
Yeah, we try to do that and offer that to our customers with exclusive covers or early releases. So we do try to make it like a fun experience for the worms. They get something special.
And I know you all. I saw you all posted. You had like a planning meeting to figure out your all's, I guess, themes for next year. When you do your themes, do you all have books in mind already, or do you start with a theme and try to pick a book that goes with a theme, or do you have a book in mind and try to work a theme around that?
Yeah, I was going to ask that, but I was going to be a little bit harsher and ask if you guys fight about them. Go ahead.
We
Answer
fight
his.
all the
Go ahead.
time. Sometimes
No.
we punch each other.
Yeah, I tell
Punch each
Ashley,
other.
I'd be like, you know what? Time out. You don't get to pick this month's book.
And then I have to sit in the
Month,
corner.
Yeah. You get this month. I'm picking next month. Go
Yeah.
ahead. Yeah.
I mean, it is really different. Sometimes the books are what make the package and we plan the theme around the books. And then sometimes it's like, we really just want, to highlight this trope. We love haunted houses. Let's get books that fit into the haunted house theme.
Right.
Yeah. Sometimes we get a theme name. Like I sometimes get a theme name in my head and I'm like, I don't care. I need to use this theme name. Like we got to figure out how we're going to use it.
She does.
I like themes, but yeah, we were kind of working on 2022. So far, we're just trying to write down books that are coming out, and so we just mix it up back and forth how we plan our packages.
I'm loving all these comments. Hey, everybody.
Yeah, David says if you ever start shipping to the EU, so the UK, he'll get on that.
Aw.
Well,
You'll have
UK
plans to do that? I know
Well,
it's super expensive to do.
we were doing it, but they changed like their tax laws at the beginning of
Okay.
this year, and so it's just like a headache and hard and difficult to figure out. So
I know
We
just
just
a
thought for a time
little, just a very little paperback, mass market paperbacks, like $27 to ship there. So
Yeah,
good
you
luck.
mailed one to Ross Jeffrey.
Yeah, that's just crazy.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And, somebody told me that there might be like a media, how we have media mail. So there might be some sort of tax exemption on just sending books. So someone did tell me like, hey, look into just doing like for the UK, at least just the books and
Just the
like
book.
leave all the coffee and tea and goodies out of it. See if
Yeah.
that's a possibility, but we're looking into different things.
Speaking of the goodies, same process. You guys still fight over what to put in each package, or tell us about the goodies that come along with just the books.
Well, in the beginning, we were kind of like flying by the seat of our pants, and like every month, we were just like, "Oh, what can we do? What can we do?"
Right.
But then, like earlier last year, we were like, "You know what? We need to like stick to like a simple method. Where we do a bookmark, a sticker, and a drink for sure. And then sometimes, we'll have bonus things, or we'll have a magnet, or we'll have, we get extra swag from a publisher or something. Or in May, we did like notebooks and stuff. So, yeah, we kind of try to stick with that.
Plus, like our philosophy with goodies, there's a lot of book subscription companies that will maybe include one book and then stuff it full of like merchandise. And Ashley and I used to rep for different companies and just have so much crap laying around that we're never going to use. Like, beanies you're not going to wear, t-shirts that are ugly, or like unlicensed stuff too. Like, I mean, you can't just put whatever the hell you want on a t-shirt and call it good. Like, I remember there was a thing with Brian Keene one time where somebody was just making shit from his books, putting zombies on things or whatever. And it's like, you can't just do that.
Right.
So like our philosophy is like, we just want one-time use stuff, like a coffee you can enjoy while you're reading, a bookmark that you can throw inside your book and lose later, a sticker you can put on your Kindle, like something that you use and then goes away.
Yeah, so it's not just piling crap everywhere.
Yeah.
Lanyards and hats and t-shirts. Yeah. That
like
gets lost in the corner.
Yeah.
A stupid like watch or, a necklace. I'm like, I don't want that.
You can never have too many bookmarks because you do lose them. So you got to have.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Even if you don't lose them, you always should have 200 at a time.
Right.
And that's something that's kind of collectible too. Like I'm sure someone collects like lanyards and stuff, but bookmarks, there's small space compared to a bunch of lanyards hanging off your doorknob or whatever.
Yeah. And it just kind of, you can use them for your photos. I mean, a lot of our friends are bookstagrammers too. So we try to be mindful of the fact that, our stickers aren't tiny. They're like nice size stickers that they can use in their, photos and stuff.
Right.
And since we are bookstagrammers, we definitely take into account like how things look together. They're not butt ugly. They're not stupid. Like I'm like,
we go into it with that mindset of
it's gotta be
want
pretty.
it to look good.
Yeah. If it look like we would never pick something that we're like, ew, like I'm not putting that on my feed.
Actually, one time
One time that did happen to us.
we partnered with Fangoria for their 50th anniversary, and their magazine was like so gross. We didn't like it.
I remember when they released the magazine cover, I was like, have you seen that? And I was like, that's what it is. Like, we're committed. We're locked in. Like, what are we going to do?
What are we going to do? It's hideous. Like, and then when Ashley and I like took pictures on Instagram, we like would hide the magazine behind other things.
Put books on
We would
top of
show
it.
the Fangoria part. Yeah, some could say Fangoria.
Oh, we didn't like it at all.
Blur it out for your protection.
Yeah.
Did you ever
So,
think the
let's
word
see.
bookstagrams would actually exist? Some of
already does.
the terminology. Yeah, I know some of the terminology I hear because like I've only been doing it for like a year or so. Some
Book
like
talk.
book talk and book
Booktube.
Twitter and bookstagram and all of these social media things with book involved. It's mind blowing at times. But you both are pretty active.
Yeah. I mean, Ashley got on TikTok like a while before I did. And at first I was just like, oh, I don't have time for another app or platform. Like, I just don't. But then as soon as like I kept seeing all of her cute videos and stuff, I was like, that looks like a lot of fun. I want to try that. So
It is. And I can never remember her name, but the lady who runs the Books of the Freezer podcast, she did the one for Eric LaRocca, and it went
Steph.
viral. It has like 120,000 something views her TikTok does for that book. It's insane.
Yeah, she gets some of her videos just go crazy. I know she did was it Extreme Horror she just did, and it's like got, I don't know, tons
she
of
did
views
Dead
on it.
Inside. It was like Dead Inside and Duncan Ralston's Womb, and it has like 250,000 likes on it.
Yeah.
That's great.
They're
I feel
not
like people
like-
really are, the views. I feel like people are really drawn to the extreme stuff for some reason.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like those videos or TikToks or whatever, they do a lot better than other things do.
Yeah. I think it's the demographic actually, because TikTok is made up of, I was reading some article or something where it's really like, tops out at like 25 years old or something. So.
I'm all
We're all
late then.
above the
Yeah,
age
wow.
bracket.
No, I have this one lady who follows me on TikTok, and every once in a while, so there's this thing you can do on TikTok called a duet, and it's like you can like react to someone's video and like have you on the side.
Yeah.
And she's like an older woman, and she's so cute. She'll like duet to some of my TikToks that I post, and she'll just be like, "Oh yeah, woo, that's good. Oh my god!" And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I love this lady."
That's your number one fan.
She
That
did
is
it
your
again
number one
yesterday,
fan.
and I was just like, "She's so cute." Like,
That
I
is
was-
really cute.
I see some of these videos. I'm like, how do they have time to do this?
Some of them are insane.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
Oh,
editing
like
on
the
them
whole
stuff.
wardrobe changes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like, there's the ones where they hit their head on the counter, and it flips their shirts all the time. Just
Like
Yeah.
I'm like,
crazy stuff.
don't you have a job to go to?
Like the
like-
videos are 60 seconds, and it probably takes them like 2.5 hours to make this 60-second
Exactly.
video.
Yeah.
yeah, and they have to like put makeup on every day.
Oh yeah.
Like, oh, I don't want to get ready every day and do my hair.
And then of course I sit there and I say I could do that. And then when it comes time to do it, I'm like, no, I'm too tired. I just worked 12 hours. I don't want it. Forget it.
Okay, but
some
like
of it,
statistically, from like a business perspective, so here we go with like, I get all like entrepreneurial about this stuff, but
Here's one of your philosophies. Come on.
yeah, statistically, when you run a business and your customers can see your face, like all of our selfies that Ashley and I will post, and there's not a ton of them, but or like if you make a video or you're in your photo somewhere in your picture, like your customers like that 50% more than just a photo of something else. So it's like from a business perspective, with Ashley and I putting our face on podcast or TikTok or Reels or whatever, people really love to see the person behind the business.
I think John Lynch said that the other day, that the pictures of the selfies with him in books get way more likes on his Instagram than just the book pictures by themselves.
Yeah,
And he made a joke like he's ugly, so he didn't know why people were liking it and stuff. But that was his words, not mine.
You can associate the name with the face, so it
Yeah,
brings a different aspect to it, probably.
and it
So-
makes it more
Yeah.
personal. Like you
Yeah.
see the face, you hear them talk on book talk or whatever. And it's just more personal. You have that more connection with them than some faceless company that you don't know anything about.
Yeah, exactly. We're real people.
Well, speaking of
See,
names, where did both your names? Sadie's, I've heard yours many times before I even got into doing what I'm doing. Mother Horror. Where did Spookishmommy and Mother
No.
Horror come from?
Mother Horror came from moi.
That's
I
right. She called me that.
Well, that's why I was asking like where it came from, because I heard it and I was like, who is this Mother Horror?
Well, I'll tell you why I gave her that name. So she started like this season of horror read along. Like, how many years ago was that now, Sadie? Like 4 probably.
4, yeah.
And I was like, oh, I'm joining too. And then like we never left season of horror. We've been here ever since. And she just always had the best recommendations, and she just like always was talking about horror, horror, horror. And I was just like, give us all the horror, mother. Like, you are our mother.
You are our mother.
Mother horror. So
I did get a dedication in a book one time that was so sweet. It was this author was just like, hey, Mother Horror, thanks for all you do. Love, one of your horror sons. And I was like, oh, I have a family. It's so cute.
well,
So where did
mine,
go ahead.
It was Bookishmommy forever. But like I still kind of like hate it, like the whole mommy thing, but I just don't really want to change my full username, so I just changed 2 letters, and now it's Spookishmommy, because sometimes I don't always post about books. I just like post my weird crap, like all my Halloween stuff. So
Yeah, she's a
Halloween's
Halloween.
not weird though. So speaking of Halloween, someone had a question up here. See if I can go back and find it. If you all can answer, are you all planning anything special for your Halloween package?
Hi, Janelle. We are, obviously. We love Halloween, and we always give special attention to Halloween. We also like our anniversary packages too, which is like Christmas time. So we like to do something special on Halloween and Christmas.
She also said that you all should put pins and have pins and coffee mugs for sale, but not in the package. You can open a Nightworm store where you can buy merch somewhere.
Okay, we want to, but like we also don't want to do the work.
That's all about getting an intern or bringing somebody else in.
Yeah, get that intern.
we've looked into like the drop ship stuff, but it just seems like more of a nuisance than that it's worth. So, I mean, it's still something we're open to. We just haven't really done anything yet.
We should actually ask Ben. Ben, he is vicariously reading on Bookstagram. Ben he sets up Shopify stuff really well. I've used him for Death's Head Press, and I've used him for Stygian Sky. And I'm looking into maybe thinking he could do something with our Redbubble, because Redbubble is a great like service where you can put stuff on t-shirts and magazines and stuff like that. But I'm not magazines,
stickers and magnets, all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
And I don't have time to set that up. You know how like store setup or Etsy setup or whatever, like all the little, I don't want to do that. I don't want to waste time on it.
I know. I tried messing with it once too, and I was just like, what? I don't understand. So
yeah, like sizing the logo for specific things. Like I would always like start to do a t-shirt and it would be like the Nightworms logo this big in the middle of your chest.
Where did the name Nightworms come from? Did one of you all make that up, or did you hear it from somewhere else and take it?
I think that was Ashley again.
No,
so she's a name comer-upper?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I will call anyone a name, but I don't think I thought of Nightworms.
Because Nightworms is a cool name for a horror package.
I think we just voted on it when we were a review group and we were throwing out a bunch of names. Like for some reason in my head, I think Alex Finding Montauk said it first.
Could be.
We were like, we want something where like, we like horror and we read at like nighttime and we're bookworms. And so someone said like, oh, Nightworms, and it just stuck.
Yeah, and if you use the Nightworms hashtag, it is mostly our stuff now. But when we first started, it was a lot of fishermen posting pictures of their work. Their night crawlers.
Oh my gosh.
So did one of you all draw the original logo, or did you have someone make it for you?
Do you guys hear that?
Is that mine?
I don't know.
There's some kind of weird feedback.
I don't know.
Okay.
It's not me.
Okay, went away. Nope, it's back. I can't tell who it is.
I don't know.
I can't hear anything. Maybe it's me. 'Cause I
Okay,
can't
well,
hear it.
if it's
Maybe it's
bugging
you.
anyone,
Yeah. Maybe it's
it
you,
is-
Brad, because you can't hear it. So
Yeah, it is really low key. So
yeah. Okay.
Is it still going on?
yeah,
I hear it.
It's like a really loud cricket.
yeah, it's fine. We'll just talk
Okay.
over.
Yeah. We can talk louder.
Well, our
So you're
original
all-
logo was by Dan's Monsters, who's in the UK, and then we
Do I
about
have that on my thing? I might. Yeah. Oh, it's a sticker. Never mind.
oh, well, then like a year, I think almost 2 years ago now, the inksmith Ethan redid our logo for us, and now he's kind of like our artist. He does all our theme announcements, and he makes our bookmarks every month. But yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like your all's new bookmark designs and like your theme designs and stuff. They all look good.
Yeah, we
I
were
like that
doing
they're
our own graphics and
consistent, like,
stuff.
There's like a consistent theme, or not consistent theme, but consistent style with them all that I like.
Yeah, we really like that. He does a great job.
He does.
Do you all give him any like layout designs or anything, or does he just do it all himself and sends it to you?
We just tell him, like, sometimes we have a more specific idea, but sometimes we don't. We're just like, here's the theme and here are the books. Do whatever you want. But sometimes we'll get something and we'll be like, we really want it to be, and we'll give him a little bit of an idea.
So it's about 30 minutes in. Do you still have to leave early, Ashley?
I would probably have about 20 minutes.
Okay, you all want to go ahead and play
Let's
a game?
get
real
a
quick?
game.
Yeah,
in.
let's play a game.
So the theme for the idea from this game is sort of like the Newlywed Game, where I don't know if anybody remembers the Newlywed Game, but you'd ask a question and then the other person would answer what they thought it would be.
Yes, Brad, I'm old enough to remember it.
I know you were on the Newlywed Game, right? Is that what So this game is called Do You Know Me? Really?
Do you know me? Really?
We just get cheesier and cheesier, don't
We
we?
do.
I
That's
love
the whole thing.
those.
So I got 10 questions, 11 questions, and I'm going to ask the question, and Ashley, you'll answer what you think Sadie's answer will be, and then Sadie, you'll do vice versa. You'll say what you think Ashley's answer will be. Let's get these questions pulled up, and we'll see who's the true friend. Who really knows who the best?
Oh man, no pressure.
Start another fight.
We maybe see a company collapse before our eyes. Here.
I quit!
All right, so question number one, who is your favorite author? Sadie, who is Ashley's favorite author?
Oh gosh, she has a lot of favorites.
Pressure.
I'm gonna go with Tananarive Dew.
Is that right?
Well, I wasn't thinking of my answer.
She's like, I don't know who my favorite
No,
author.
no.
I'm like, Sadie's totally correct. Like, I'm just like, I can't, like, I have such a hard time with favorites, but I would
So
say currently, like, Tananarive is one I'm constantly recommending and saying everywhere. So I would say yes.
So point for Sadie. So
I
who
should
is
probably keep
Sadie's
track,
favorite
right?
author?
Should
Yeah,
I
keep track, Jay.
Oh, come
Keep
on.
track.
I'm not prepared on my own show. Okay. Wait.
Ashley, who is Sadie's favorite author?
If we're gonna say of all time, like, I have to say Stephen King.
It's true.
It's true.
I love
Yeah.
him.
That's probably my favorite author as well. Who's your favorite author, Jay?
Probably King.
King.
Or Ross
All right, so
Jeffrey.
what-
Is he still in the chat?
Ross Jeffrey, he was here in the chat a second ago.
He's awesome too.
He is really good. Like, he hasn't written anything that I've read that I have not liked at all.
Yeah,
He's
his book
great.
Home reminds me of Stephen King actually.
It does, yeah. Very much so. We buddy read that together. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was.
So question 2, what is your favorite book? Ashley, what's Sadie's favorite book
Of all time,
of all time?
I'm gonna say it.
Yeah,
Ooh,
it would be
2 for
it or-
2.
It would be it or Salem's Lot for sure.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Salem's Lot. Salem's Lot was the first Stephen King book she ever read,
Me too.
but it is like, I know she loves it too. So
It's the godfather of all books.
You guys are really friends. I'm going to tear up here for a second.
Aw.
What's Ashley's favorite book of all time?
Oh gosh. That is so
Well, maybe
it's like-
not.
it is. It's such a lot of pressure because we talk about a lot of things and she's like, this is my favorite book. And then like next week she's like, no, this is my favorite book. I'm gonna say Anya Allborn, Brother.
okay, good. Yep,
That's
I'll say
good.
that's correct.
Yes.
Nice.
I actually just made a TikTok today that I filmed, and it was like, post your favorite horror book. And
That's awesome.
All right. Question 3. What's your favorite genre of horror? Ashley, what's
answering
Sadie's
first?
favorite genre?
I'm going to
what's
say
what's
coming of
Ash-
age.
Yes.
Coming of age.
Age.
It's good. I think that might be mine as well. I don't know. It's hard to pick favorites. What's Ashley's favorite genre?
I mean, I would also pick coming of age for her, but she also likes true crime, which doesn't count as horror, I don't think. Do you think?
Well,
No.
It is horror.
Well,
It's hard
I
to
would
say.
say no
it's a
because
stretch.
It's like real life horror, but it's not.
Yeah.
Okay, human horror. I'll say like human
Yeah.
monsters.
Yeah.
That's her favorite.
I do love that.
Y'all are 3 for 3.
I know.
You're good friends.
Do we
Yeah.
have a tiebreaker question in case they tie?
Yeah, it'll be
We
who's your
talk
favorite
about books a
booktuber.
lot.
Yeah, really.
Number 4. This is not about books. How do you like your coffee? How does Sadie like your coffee?
Okay, well, I've got 2. And if I'm going to a coffee shop, she'll take a vanilla latte or a chai. And if she's making coffee at home, she's just like a cream and sugar kind of person.
Yep, that's true. That's
Oh.
We also drink a lot of coffee.
I know you always post coffees in your pictures and stuff.
Yeah, and Ashley, like, either like at first I don't think she drinks Red Bull is her energy drink of choice.
That's her favorite coffee flavor, Red Bull.
Yeah, that's her favorite coffee flavor. And if she does have it, I know she likes like flavored coffee creamers.
Yeah, I'm a sugar addict. I'm a sugar. I love sugar.
Sounds like my kids.
Frosty out of the tub.
I really do. With a spoon.
Let me just ask, do you guys know this much stuff about your spouses?
Yes.
Okay, I'm just checking.
I've been married to him for 25 years this August.
Number 5. What is your dream vacation spot? Sadie, what's Ashley's dream vacation spot?
That's tough. Her and I are the same in like we don't like to venture out and do new things. And she goes to Hawaii a lot, so I'll pick Hawaii.
Yeah, if I could go to the same hotel at the same spot island on Hawaii forever, I would be totally fine with that. I don't
What's
like
Sadie's
new places.
favorite? What's Sadie's
Sadie,
favorite spot?
I feel like Sadie would want to go to Hawaii too. Like I feel like she wants to go there, and I think she would like it there. So I'm going.
I do want to go. I just need Ashley to teach me how to make it not expensive because it's expensive.
Is that where Nightworms HQ is going to be based in
Yeah.
Hawaii from now on?
Yeah.
We
So
need
was
to
that-
figure out
was-
how to make it a business expense.
Was that a right answer then?
Oh,
Sadie?
for me, yes, I would like to go to Hawaii, but I
Okay.
also would like to go to Europe. So it's
I'd
kind
like
of
to go to Europe too. I want to go to Japan because I just want to eat all the food.
Does she still get a point for that?
yes. Let's go with Hawaii.
Yeah, give her a point.
We'll give her a point. Because there's no prize, so it's fine.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
fine.
it's an imaginary paper cuts trophy is what we're giving out.
There you go. Yeah. You get to brag.
Bragging rights.
Number 6, what is your favorite hobby outside of reading? So what does Sadie like to do the most outside of reading?
Do I have-
That has nothing to do with books.
Yeah,
I would
nothing to
say
do with books or reading.
I would say watching movies and like going to the movie theater.
Yes. Yes, and movies are basically books in movie form. So yes, I say yes to that. That's true. And Ashley
What's Ashley?
would be baking.
Well, I do like to bake, but I actually haven't been like in the last year only because I will just eat all of it.
Okay, I lose.
Oh, that's not the okay. First
What
one.
is-
Wow.
First-
What's
missed
your favorite
point.
hobby other than baking?
I don't know. I mean, all my hobbies really center around books, like
Books.
Yeah.
taking photos, making videos. I mean, me and my family do like go biking a lot, but like that's boring.
She's a Peloton addict. That's what I'll say. Her hobby is Peloton.
Well, we ride bikes outside too, like on the weekend. So
Yeah, I've seen your all's pictures of you. You all go hiking and stuff. You'll have all the nice landscape to do all that kind of stuff. Everything here in Kentucky is just ugly.
Yeah,
At least where I'm at.
here.
Well, I mean, I could insert some jokes, but go ahead. Finish the game.
Don't you start, Jay. So what's your favorite food? What's Ashley's favorite food?
Frosting.
Right out of the
What
tub.
category is that in?
Don't tell everyone my secret.
My
Cupcake.
wife just eats the frosting right out of the tub too.
I do too, with a spoon, funfetti
Yep.
only.
Funfetti,
Yep,
yeah.
exactly. That's exactly what she eats. The funfetti.
Mhm.
That's
Yep,
funny.
it's got to be the rainbow chip funfetti. because it's got to have those weird little sprinkle things inside of it.
The circle
See?
sprinkles.
I told
instead
you.
of
I think that counts.
I think it does too. Frosting. What's Sadie's favorite food?
Tacos.
Taco Tuesday.
All right, number 8. What's your favorite scary movie? What's Sadie's favorite scary movie?
We're both not very big scary movie watchers. I don't know. I mean, I know she's watched, like, she likes Lost Boys.
Mhm.
What's
Yes.
the other one? We were just talking about horror movies. Can't remember what you said.
Dr. Sleep. I just
Oh,
posted
Dr. Sleep.
on Bookstagram today.
Was that good? I haven't seen that one yet.
Yeah, I loved it. It was so good. I would pick that as my current favorite.
Didn't you recently, like within the last couple months, watch The Thing for the first time?
Yeah, that was so good. I can't
That's
believe
probably
I
my
missed
favorite
that.
horror movie.
Yeah, that was really fun. That was a really fun horror movie. I think Ashley's would be yeah, we don't really talk about movies. That's funny. She likes slasher type movies like Scream. I'll pick Scream.
If I was going to say one, it would probably be that. That's like one of, like, I don't watch a ton of movies, but that was one, you know, in middle school that we watched all the time. So
Yeah.
I love the look
fun
of
horror.
Ghostface. It is. I love his mask.
it's iconic.
It is.
It
That's
is.
a great mask.
It's like
fun
him,
slasher.
Freddy, and Michael, or like and Jason are like the big 4, in my
Yeah.
opinion. And then throw Leatherface in there sometimes.
Even though I've never seen any of those movies, but yes.
Yeah, you were the one talking about you haven't seen Halloween, and Chad
Right.
Linsky was gutting on you, wasn't he? He's supposed to be here in the chat. He said he's gonna come pester you.
My own kids make fun of me and they're like, "Oh, mother horror, huh?" But doesn't watch any horror. It's like, well, I mean, books and movies are different.
You should do that for Halloween. You should live stream your reaction to watching the original Halloween movie.
Oh God, I can't.
It's not bad because it was made like 70 something. It's not bad.
You
There's no
could
like jump
probably-
scares or anything really.
You could probably get like 60 TikToks of your reactions to
Yeah,
Halloween. Just keep
It's like,
recording
oh.
yourself.
yeah, because they have those videos. I've never seen such and such movie like Star Wars or Jurassic
Yeah.
Park. So you can do. I've never seen Halloween and do your TikToks for it.
That's a good idea, actually.
Just give me credit. No, I'm
Content.
just joking.
Okay, I will. I'll tag you.
All right, number 9. What is your biggest real life phobia? What's Sadie's biggest real life phobia? I think I know what this one is. I think
She
I've
has
seen
like
you talk about it.
everything. So the biggest one is it trypophobia or trypophobia? I don't remember how to say it.
Phobia.
But the one with the
Trypophobia.
holes.
Yeah, holes, clusters.
Oh, don't say clusters. I love them.
Like my kids, if we're on a walk or whatever, they'll turn over the underside of a fern and it's got those spores. It's like I
So
can't.
like a beehive, like with all those little holes of that
The
bothers you.
honeycombs.
And
Honeycombs,
then
yeah.
you put the larva inside of that, and that just makes it extra gross.
That's
Ew,
awesome.
I hate the word clusters. Oh,
I know, right?
Is
You
that
probably
Ashley's
have a
biggest
wild
phobia? The word
phobia.
clusters.
I just saw it in the comments. I hate clusters of holes, and I'm like,
there it
"Ugh,
goes.
cluster.
Hey, that
Um,
hopefully Rain is writing this down for his next story.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
the story right here.
Our
NW reader, same thing.
R.A. Busby. You guys know who I'm talking about, the author?
The name
Yeah.
sounds familiar.
Yeah, so she wrote a book called, I think it's called Holes or something. And it made me, like, it's one of the few books that actually gave me physical willy, like, whoa. It's pretty gross.
Like for me, it's claustrophobia and stuff like messing with your eyeballs. I can't deal with eyeball stuff.
Yeah.
Like Kevin
ew.
gets those shots in his eyeballs, and that would just be the worst thing ever to have to do that.
I
I'm
hate
gonna
things in
say-
my eyeballs.
Ashley, is yours like spiders?
No, I don't mind spiders. I'll kill a spider anytime.
What is yours? I don't know.
Oh,
I don't know. I mean, I feel like I'm afraid of a lot of things, but like I'm not like
You
I'm
don't
not
have
like afraid of like seeing things. Like what the thing with like holes and things, like how you hate it. I like hate to love it. Like I'll just stare at it. I just want to stare at it more. Like, what?
It's like those pimple popping videos. They're so gross,
Oh.
but you just can't look away.
That makes me want to throw up.
it's just a
That's
long
gross.
line. long line of
Ew.
nastiness.
Who
That's-
does that? Who does that?
There's TikToks like the other day
Yeah.
one got on my feed, and it was like I was just scrolling, and it came up, and I was like, "Why would you show me that?"
It's almost like a fetish. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've seen like
it
where
is.
they do the duet where there's like the doctor and they're watching him, like peel the face skin off. It's pulling out all the blackheads and all that nasty
Oh
stuff.
my god!
Sadie's like blocking TikTok now. She's not gonna watch any more
I'm gonna
TikTok.
throw up in my mouth.
All right, number 10.
This
If you could
last
meet one, we got two more.
okay.
If you could meet one fictional character, who would it be?
If you could marry,
If you could meet them
oh me,
or marry them, if you want to marry them too, you know. So if-
well, I know Sadie's Jay
Who's
Gatsby.
Sadie?
Jay Gatsby is my fictional BF. I will pick Coraline for Ashley.
Mm,
Oh, I could meet Coraline.
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't
that
know
was
why
your
I thought this
favorite-
question said marry, and I'm like, this is weird.
Oh,
That's
You
the
can,
next
you can
question.
marry her too if you want to.
favorite. I thought it was like favorite, like Pennywise or something, but you can't really meet those people.
Right.
You could. It just wouldn't end up too well.
I don't know. I'm wrong on that one too.
I don't like. I don't know. I don't know. I don't really have characters like that where I'm like in love with them or I want to meet them.
See,
You
the
don't get,
ones
like, your
that I
favorite-
miss are the
favorite
ones
crush.
Ashley doesn't really. She doesn't really have one.
She didn't have one. Last question. Between
give you a
both
point
of
for
you
that.
all. Yeah. Between both of y'all, who has the biggest book collection?
We're pretty even.
Pretty even? 'Cause
Yeah,
I know
I
you've got
mean-
Ashley's got the big wraparound bookshelf you post pictures of all the time.
She does. She has like them all like in a really organized manner and stuff, and then I just like stack them up places so they don't look
Yeah.
like her.
I've got stacks on the floor and on the
Yeah.
walls.
I have a stack right here behind me. I have one right here on my dresser, and there's one I'm looking at, another one on my desk.
Is that some on the? Oh, is that a nightstand full of books?
Yeah,
back
there's
behind you,
another
too?
stack right there. Four
Just full of
stacks in
books.
this room. Yeah.
Well, that's the end of the game. Good job, guys. Thanks for playing the game.
Yay.
Who won, Jay? Who's the winner?
Ashley
I think
won
Ashley
by
won.
2. Yeah.
Yes.
This
Yes.
is why Ashley is the brains of our business as well.
Well, you get to go on Instagram and Twitter and say you won. I mean, that's
Yeah, now you can go
that's
brag
what you
about
get.
I guess one of my problems is that like I'm a competitive person, so if I play a game and I don't win, I'll just quit.
Yeah.
She just leaves the live stream. I'm out.
That's awesome.
That would have been a good send off since you have to leave early. If you would have lost,
Yeah.
I'm out.
I'm out of here.
I'm outta
we
here.
we should have
Flip
said
the
anything.
computer
Yeah,
screen.
yeah,
Just
we
flip
should have
the
said
computer
anything.
and
Just
walk
out of
out.
here.
People in the comments are talking about how gross pimples are and stuff now.
I just don't understand. I mean, no shade on if you love pimple videos. I know. I mean, obviously,
If that's your thing.
obviously, if people like watch it on Hulu, like there's a whole show like
Oh,
Dr.
jeez.
Pimple Popper or something. So I mean, why? I don't know, but people are into it. So
I don't know. That's
do your thing.
Like it's like fascinating but disgusting at the same time. I don't know. Like you just want to watch it, but you don't.
No,
Except
I
Ashley or Sadie really doesn't want to watch it.
no.
I want to get off the subject. I just
We'll switch.
yeah.
So let's talk. Since Ashley's here for a few more minutes, I want to talk about your true crime book club.
okay.
How long have you been doing that for?
Actually, we're pretty much almost to 2 years. We started in September 2019.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we've read a lot of books together. For a long time, I just had one little group, and we would just talk in it. But then all of a sudden, I was like, I don't know why I'm not talking about it more. And then like a ton of people joined, and now I have like all these group chats, and it's cool because so many people have made friends, and like I don't have to be in all the discussions all the time because they like each other.
Are you
Where
doing
do you all do
fictional and non-fictional or?
Yeah, nonfiction, true crime.
Where do y'all do your chats at? Did you have like a dedicated place?
I try to post them on my Instagram feed, but sometimes we just talk about them in our group chats as well.
Do you have a favorite book that you've read because of the book club?
I have a lot. Like we read The Stranger Beside Me together last year, and I'd never read it before, and that's probably one of my favorite true crime books.
Is that the Ted
Which-
Bundy one?
I'll say
Yeah,
that's Bundy,
Diane
right?
Roll. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he's from where I live, so I mean that's appropriate.
That's creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I think like it's hilarious. Like almost not all, but a lot of the true crime books I read mention Washington at least once, and it'll be like Tacoma, Gig Harbor, like all these places. And I'm like, God, everyone comes through here. It's so creepy.
Yeah, it is creepy. I mean, like, we live really close to the University of Puget Sound, and he went to school there, and he actually like was a peeping Tom in the neighborhood where we first lived when we moved here.
That's creepy.
Like he would just go. That was how he started.
So in your neighborhood you live now, it's where he would peep and Tom?
Well, not the one I live in now, but the one I first lived in. And those little houses in that neighborhood, it would be around that area where he was like actually just watching people through their windows. Like that's how he started. Then he started going inside their houses if their doors were unlocked and just kind of looking around and looking at them sleeping and stuff, and then leave again. And then it just kept escalating. Yeah.
See, that'd be a good episode of Mindhunter if they ever bring that back.
They're supposed to be bringing season 3 back.
Yeah.
Supposedly. That show's awesome.
Yeah, so fascinating.
Since you've been reading true crime consistently for like 2 years, have you found yourself getting paranoid at all or anything?
I'm just a paranoid person in general. So
my wife has been listening to a true crime, I think it's called True Crime All the Time podcast for like the last couple of months. And she's had to stop. She's like, it's making me paranoid. I quit listening to it for a while.
Yeah,
I don't
know.
They do like the smaller people. They do like Ted Bundy and stuff every now and then, but they talk about a lot of unknown true crime cases.
Cold cases, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We also have a women's correctional facility here in the city I live in. And so the last true crime book I just read for our July book, it turns out she's in prison right next door to me. I was like, you know what? I'm taking a field trip.
I was going to say, on the other side of the fence, hey, you signed my
I
book
just
for
read
me?
that book about you.
Sign my book.
You could just take a Bookstagram photo, Ashley, and hold the book up in the background.
Take a selfie
like,
with her.
there she is. She's right back there.
So to ask her, well, so why'd you do it? No, tell me the truth. Not the trial. Tell me.
So what else did she do? Did she, I guess, kill a bunch of people too?
No, I don't know who's in this chat, but it's called If You Tell, and the author's actually local to us too. He lives like in the next city over from me. So he writes a lot of books here in Washington State. But anyway, she was just like a terrible, horrible, abusive person that like, I don't want to say she accidentally killed people, like, but she wasn't like someone who went out and like murdered them with a knife. It was more like abusive led to murder.
You seem a little let down that she did.
She
wasn't a slasher.
Oh well.
My child's here listening to this conversation.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. We know you got to scoot out. So
whenever you need to leave, it's fine to leave whenever you need to.
I should probably get going, but thank you for having me.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for joining, Ashley.
I'm gonna check out now.
Bye, Jack.
We'll wait till she leaves before we talk about her.
Bye.
Yeah. See you, Ashley. All right, now that she's gone, Sadie, you can give all the dirt.
Tell us real stuff.
Yeah. So.
Who really runs the company?
She's actually super brave because I can't read a lot of true crime. Like I ended up having to quit I'll Be Gone in the Dark because the Golden State Killer is actually in California, at the time, started in Auburn, which was 30 minutes away from where I grew up. And he was just like, systematically hunting women and raping them. I mean, I think he must have raped like 68 women or something before he started actually murdering them too. So it was just like, he would come inside people's houses, whether the husband was home or not, so that was
the writer of that recently died, right?
Yeah. She passed away before
she passed away.
Michelle McNamara.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of true crime, like movies and documentaries. I haven't read a lot of true crime, but I did read that one. And I will, while I was reading it and like a couple days after, I would make sure to double check my locks on the doors at night. It was just like, it did make me a little paranoid. Like, cause he did it for so long, like 30 years, and no one ever knew. And it was like these different counties, they had different names for him. And Michelle's the one who put them all together, connected it all. And he actually they actually found out who it was just a couple years after she passed away.
He was like living in a home with his grandkids, believe it or not. I mean, I don't know how these men sleep at night and separate what they'd been doing for most of their life and then sit there and be a grandpa to some children. Like that is
just double life. It's
chills your blood.
It's like the BTK killer. Like he was like a deacon at his church and like all this kind of stuff. And his family had no clue that he had this other horrible life. It's crazy. But they can put on that facade. Like who's the real person? Is it the family man and the serial killer's their side persona, or are they really the serial killer and everything else is fake?
Oh,
it's really kind of creepy when you think about it.
Very creepy. I mean, those FBI agents that do profiling and talk to those murderers and stuff, I honestly don't know how do they do it, because it's terrifying.
Yeah,
This
like
is like
Mindhunter is an awesome show.
it's like
Oh,
Netflix,
yeah.
half Netflix lineup.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
It is. It's fascinating, but at the same time, like, I don't want those guys to get any more notoriety than they already have. So it's like, I like when the stories focus on the victims. The podcast that I listened to, shout out to Morbid. Morbid's awesome because the two women who run that podcast really emphasize the victims and talk about the families. They always end the show with like quotes from the victims' families about the victims, which I feel is like really respectful and honoring.
Mm-hmm. That was like Cynthia Pelayo's poetry book, Into the Force and All the Way Through. It was all about the victims.
Right.
Yeah.
I think I said that something like that in my review. That it's really weird that like us as a society, we focus on the killers. We want to know all about them, but it really doesn't ever say anything about the victims. There are more statistics. Like Ted Bundy killed, 30 people or something, but no one. I can't name any of his victims.
Right. That's
I can name all these killers, but none of the victims.
Yeah,
it's a weird
sad.
fascination we have.
Well, and even like people aspire to be a notorious serial. The one I just watched about Bobby Picton or whatever his name, the pig farmer from Canada who was killing people. I mean, he wanted to have 50. Like he wanted to like have 50 kills so that he could be, win some fucking psycho award.
Yeah.
And then you have like the copycat killers.
It's like they idolize these are their idols somehow.
Right.
I mean,
it's
what?
Gross.
What happened that was so screwed up in your life that those are your idols? That's just
yeah.
How do we go down this route?
It's Ashley's fault. She's not here. We'll blame Ashley.
Hey, welcome to True Crime Talk, guys.
What are you talking about?
Yeah,
it is so fascinating though, like how someone could do such a thing, and not just like one time, but like consistently, like set out to do all these things. It's the psychology behind it's very interesting.
Yeah, there's also a book I want to recommend along those lines, which is Gone to See the Riverman by Christopher Triana.
I've been wanting to read that one for a long time.
Yeah, I highly recommend it to people who like true crime, actually, because the main character is a woman who is obsessed with a guy who is in prison for killing women. And it really speaks to that weird psychological thing that women have with serial killers, where they like become obsessed with these men who have done terrible things. It's a really good book. I highly recommend it.
Was it Ted Bundy that got married while he was in prison? Like he didn't know her before and she came in and they got married.
Yeah, several killers got married.
So weird.
What kind
Charles
of
Manson got married like 5 or 6 times in prison, right?
That's probably
so sick.
It's weird. It's so weird.
It is. It's so sick.
But
we'll transition to something.
Yeah,
we'll transition to something else.
Wowzers. You had questions, Brad, about Sadie's 120 jobs she has. Right?
Yeah. So I want to talk about your writing first. So you've been a reviewer for quite a long time, and now you're sort of stepping into the fiction world. You've got some short stories under your belt. You've written some intros to books, some forwards to books. What's it been like going from a reviewer to sort of stepping on the other side of the reviewer space? And have you had any, because with short stories, you don't really get negative reviews, but have you had any feedback with any of your stuff specifically to you yet?
Yeah. So nonfiction freelance writing is a legit job. And I do want to encourage people that if you like talking about books and you have the gift of words and have a way with communicating your ideas on paper, then I highly recommend pursuing a freelance writing position. I mean, you can do copywriting for magazines who need content. You could submit articles. You could do listicles for various different websites and talk about books. And, it's legit. I mean, the Horror Writers Association actually started making a way for freelance writers to have a pathway to membership. And I'm like one of very few nonfiction writers who have an active membership, because there wasn't really any way to quantify all the different platforms that you're making money from. But so they started making a process for that. So You can be a part of the Horror Writers Association at an active membership, which means you can vote in the Bram Stoker Awards, which was a dream of mine. And then in terms of like writing fiction, at first I was just kind of like donating that to charity anthologies, just kind of like for a fun thing. I didn't really want to make money doing that. And I didn't really want to spend time doing that because I have commitments. But it is something that's like really fun and I enjoy doing it. And I've had feedback. For the most part, it's been good. I haven't seen anything negative, but I don't look for it either. Like, I don't know how authors read their own reviews. Being a reviewer.
Do you have a different process for writing like a nonfiction review for like Cemetery Dance than you would like a short story?
Oh yeah, totally. Like I think I can churn out a review like pretty quickly because I just write like I talk. I try to like really casually just.
Those are the best reviews too. I mean,
yeah. I kind of
try to do mine like that. Whether it comes across like that, I don't know, but that's how I try to do mine.
It
just
does
like
for
I'm
you
talking.
too, Brad. Yeah, totally. I mean, I talk about books like to my mom or, and I just think about what would I say to my mom to get her to read this book? And then the words just kind of come. To imagine a story and try to get that shit out on paper is so hard. It's so hard. I don't enjoy it. I honestly don't.
Do you ever have any, maybe in the future, you see yourself writing like a novella or anything longer than a short story?
No, I really don't. No, it's so hard. Like, I think what ends up happening is like, as a reviewer, you do start developing and curating a real like strong taste for yourself. Brad, I'm sure you know too, when you pick up a book from a certain author, publisher, whatever, the probability that you're going to like it. So I'm sure you read a lot of books you like, and you develop a taste. And my writing and my taste, the gap is like so big. Yeah, I just don't ever think I would ever close that gap.
What are the names of how many short stories do you have published out there? I know you at least have 2 or 3 maybe.
I've seen the one in Wolves, right?
Yeah, there's one in We Are Wolves, was a charity anthology. And then Dead Awake was a story I submitted to a brand new publisher. And I wanted to kind of help them like get, eyes on their publishing company. And then I'm writing one currently for Americana, I never say that word, Diabolica, I think is the.
Okay, because they did the Britain one, right? And they're doing
the Britannica or whatever one. Yeah, so it's for that, and that's also going to be for a charity.
Do you have a favorite short story of yours that you've published so far? Which one would be your favorite?
I really did like the Water Babies one that I did for We Are Wolves. I kind of took the assignment. For me personally, I didn't grow up with any abuse in my life, so I couldn't write from a place of trauma, but I could write from my female perspective and how I grew up and what I did when I was younger. And so it's just a story about some girls that go down to the river, which is where I spent all my time when I was a teenager, smoking weed and hanging out with boys and just doing our thing. And that's really where my story drew its roots from, is from my own personal life.
It was probably easier to write too, drawing on your own personal experiences than just completely making everything up.
Yeah, totally. I didn't want to do like a trauma story that wasn't authentic. So I just took the assignment in a totally different direction.
So how did you go ahead, Jay?
I was going to say, how does one become an acting voting member of the Horror Writers Association?
Yeah, so you have to meet a payment criteria.
Okay.
So you're writing in whatever capacity that is. If you are a horror writer and you sell books, then you have to kind of like show in statements and stuff how much money you're making, and they have like a certain level or criteria for all the tiers. Yeah, and then as a supporter of horror writers, like you could be a supporting member and you can recommend books to be on the reading list for the Stokers, which is, that's really cool too.
So you got to vote in the
it was my first
Stokers.
one. Yeah.
Did you have every category you were able to vote in, or did you just
you can vote on the whole ballot. Yeah.
How hard was it to vote? Well, not to tell us who you voted for, but some of them were just like, you want all of them to win.
Yeah, no, it was impossible. Best novel was the impossible category. I liked every single novel.
Because you probably read most of them, if not all of them, haven't you?
Yeah, and I try to read them all. So like when it comes down to the final ballot, you have a few, some time. And so you can kind of like read whatever you haven't. So there were some short story collections that had a short story in it that was nominated. So I would try to read that, and the poetry and all that. Yeah.
So you're now also you're a reviewer. You write your own stories. You're also a publicist for Death's Head Press. How did that come about?
I'm not entirely sure exactly how it came about.
It just fell in our lap.
I mean, we were.
Jared's like, take some good pictures for me, Sadie, please.
I mean, I was running those book parties for all the splatter westerns, and just really getting a lot of visibility on those books. Just Nightworms posting on Bookstagram. So when we organize a book party, I mean, those photos go on Bookstagram, the reviews go to Goodreads, the Nightworms blog, Twitter, Amazon, so it's just this big cohesive
covering a lot of ground
launch. Yeah. And Jared I think just wanted me to do that in a bigger capacity for all of his books. So it was just kind of this ongoing conversation of like, how could I do that? And just be, making a paycheck doing the social media aspect, because I think most publishers, especially indie publishers, small press, the person running the show also has a full-time job. Like Jared has a full-time job. Like he doesn't have time to be on social media answering questions and DMs and putting out content. So I do that for him.
Now, are you also the publicist for, I mispronounce it, for Stygian Sky? Yeah,
Stygian Sky is Jeremy Wagner and Jared Barbie. And they hired me to do the publicity work for that publisher as well, that publishing house.
So were you excited when they brought Ross on to reprint his books, redo them?
Yeah, so that was kind of like my baby project because I love that, the Tome and Juniper, and then he's got a third one that he's working on. But I kind of had a vision for how I wanted to see those 3 books marketed. And so I kind of like spearheaded that idea to Jeremy and Jared, and just like really wanted that to happen. And I'm excited that that's going to happen.
We had Ross on last Saturday.
Yeah, Saturday.
Yeah, talking about it. He's like, I can't talk about much. Well, I'll tell you guys a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
and
really.
It's funny. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. You.
I was going to say, I don't know if you've heard the story, but he wrote Juniper and he was trying to get it published with somebody. And like the publishing house had like an internal professor or something that read books. And they basically shot him down, said it would never go anywhere. It was horrible not to do it. It's just nice now to see it's getting published with someone. Right. I'm happy for us for that's happened for him.
Yeah, it's really good that it found its audience. And I think that every book that, can find its audience. And it kind of makes me sad when there's authors out there who just don't have an idea of how they can get their book in front of people. It's really hard to like approach reviewers these days. They seem to be really overwhelmed with everything that they have going on. So to be a brand new author and try to get your book out there to be reviewed is just, it's a daunting task, and takes a lot of time.
Yeah. Especially if you're brand new and you don't have a following already or anything like that. Just, you're the small fish in the big ocean.
Yeah. And so like, that would be my piece of advice to authors, is just to get out there and like find those reviewing platforms, and just kind of start hitting people up and asking really professional emails to people who's, have review policies. Check out people's review policies, make sure that you're staying in those guidelines.
See, I'm glad you said a professional way, because lately I've gotten a couple emails and just messages like, here's my book. Like, do you want me to review it? Are you going to ask me? Is there a plea somewhere?
They're like, here's my book, read it.
Yeah. Like, hey, I just released one. I'm like, cool.
Yeah.
Is there a question in there? And I really try not to be an ass about it, but sometimes I just ignore them because I'm like, what are you asking here?
I know. I wanted to take a screenshot of my Instagram DMs the other day because
that's where I get them.
It was 6 different authors being like, read my book, and it's just kind of like a link and everything, which is just so assumptive. It's like, can you just ask people if they have the time? I wouldn't just link it and be like, here's your free Moby. Like, I don't, no thanks. Like,
I do get emails like that too. Yeah. They just send you the book for free and you have no idea what it's about or anything. Right. Like, I'm probably not going to click that link.
No,
really.
That's not a good
usually And when I research the books, I never click the links they send me. I always go to Amazon and look it up that way because I'm just worried they're sending me some kind of spam or something.
Yeah.
Especially if they haven't already talked about it and they're like, oh, here's the link to it instead of just the initial blast of all the info dump they send you.
Yeah, or like spamming other people's reviews. Like I'll go ahead and post a review on Goodreads. And it's funny because like if you're a reviewer and you've had the pumpkin farmer,
yes, I got him
on your Goodreads reviews. You've made it. You are a legit reviewer now.
And like honestly, I was joking about it in my Discord. Like it kind of made me want to read the book, but it just sounds absolutely horrible.
Yeah, it's
like a $32 book or something crazy.
I'm a little upset.
Expensive.
I don't have it yet.
Just keep putting your reviews on Goodreads and you'll get it.
Yeah,
it's like the books that he posted on. He's like, "Oh, you like this book? You should read mine." And more like nothing alike.
Oh, I will say that. Like, don't send people, review recommendations for your book through Goodreads. I hate that. It's just like, no, that's not the way. I totally ignore those.
Donnie got the pumpkin farmer.
Donnie, you've got the pumpkin farmer. You've made it.
So he's still active. So that's good. Okay, I'm waiting for it.
I just got mine like a month or two ago. It hasn't been very long.
He must have had some bites, otherwise he wouldn't do it.
He's working his way down. I mean, you're up here, Brad. I'm still down here. So
I feel like he deletes his. I feel like his account gets banned, and he just adds like a new number to the name, and he just keeps making new accounts and doing it over and over.
Just
and
like
he has to know like that doesn't work.
Like, I'm sure it does.
He has to know. It's just like I'm sure he gets no responses from that, but he just keeps doing it anyway.
There's a guy on Amazon his name is Stephen King.
Yeah, Stephen R. King.
R. King, yeah.
Stephen R. That's a long running joke with us behind the scenes. It is so bad.
It's so bad.
Yeah.
Why do you want to be that guy?
It would be really sad if that was truly his real name, and he's really trying to put stuff out there, but people are like, "Oh, you're trying to copy off Stephen King." It would be.
There are actual reviews of people saying they thought it was the real Stephen King because they have the R like this big.
Come on, literally.
Yes.
He does the fonts kind of the same as King does on the books and everything, so he is trying to go after it. It would just be kind of funny and sad if his name really was Stephen King. He's just all sad trying to get his stories out there, and no one wants to read them.
It's still funny to me how many people don't know that Joe Hill is Stephen King's son. Like still to this day, I'll post something on Bookstagram of Joe Hill's and they'll be like, "Oh, I had no idea that was Stephen King's son."
They look identical, but
they do.
And one of Stephen King's early books, he dedicates it to Joseph Hillstrom King. I can't remember which one it is, and no one still figured it out.
One of his early, I've seen that one.
It's one of the early ones, yeah.
Yeah, it's cute.
Yeah, I do like Joe Hill. Joe Hill's really good.
Yeah, he's great.
So who are some of your favorite author recommendations you can give people who are watching?
So right now, Christopher Triana is a big yes for me. I've read everything I could get my hands on, and it's all good.
He's got something with Stygian Sky coming out soon too, right?
He does. It's he has something coming out with Stygian Sky, and he has a surprise package coming soon. But I'm not going to tell you what that's from. I'm sure you'll know. I almost said it, and I was like, I don't think we've told anybody that. Never mind.
Ashley will get on you when she watches.
Yeah, really.
I'm in trouble already just for even saying that. And I really like Chandler Morrison.
I liked his splatter western. It was good.
It was really good, and he isn't going to be writing extreme horror forever. So if people have gotten on the Chandler Morrison train expecting him to keep that brand forever, he is not. He's a really, really multifaceted, talented author who's going to be doing some other stuff. So,
like all the meta stuff with him talking about how he was having trouble writing and stuff. I don't know him at all. I was very interested if that's how he really feels, or if he just wrote that as sort of the Chandler Morrison character for the book. Like he was sort of living up to. Everyone thinks he needs to write like a Dead Inside, but it's like mocking him in the background, like the poster is and stuff.
Yeah,
it was really interesting to see if he really feels that way, or if that was just a character for the book.
Yeah, that's interesting. You should actually talk to him about that. I do know the answer to that, but I think you should talk to him about that. Yeah.
Okay.
It's really good. Max Booth III is another.
I want to check out the Max stuff. Yeah.
super consistent. Everything I've ever read by him is really good. Cynthia Paleo,
She's great.
knocks it out of the park every time. V. Castro is another one who I can't even think of something that I've read where I was like, this blows my mind. That all blows my mind. There's nothing.
And she just got a big publishing deal too, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, because she fucking rocks. And people are gonna start taking note. Haley Piper is blowing up the scene.
Queen of Teeth looks really good.
Yeah, I mean, someone's gonna descend on her. One of these big five are
Snatch them up.
Snatch that right up because she's really good. S.P. Mikowski is a personal favorite of mine that I pimp out to everybody any chance I get. She has written Knock Knock, which is one of my favorite horror novels because it has girl coming of age stories in it, where most coming of age tales tend to be about boys. So I highly recommend that. And Sylvia Moreno Garcia, she's
I need to
hot right now.
read her Certain Dark Things? Is that her new one? I think that's
Certain Dark Things and Touch, or Velvet Was the Night. Yeah, that's coming out soon.
Certain Dark Things, that's a reissue, right? I think because it's been out before and Tor's doing it again.
Yeah, and that's really great too, that reprints are coming back into style. I do know a certain horror author that I won't say who has a pretty large back catalog of books that were previously unavailable when his big bestseller hit last year. And he's getting a reissue on all of his books because people were like, oh, I love it. And then they couldn't go get his back catalog. Yeah. So those are all coming out. I'm not going to say who, just in case.
Now we have to do some homework and figure that out now.
Yeah, no, who had a big bestseller?
Yeah.
It's sort of like we got to talk to Ronald Kelly, and people are starting to rediscover his book Fear, and he's sort of re-putting it out. And he sort of talked about that. He had all these books in the 80s, and then they just sort of disappeared because they would promote them for a month. Zebra Horror would.
Yeah, he was with Zebra, and
then they would just disappear off the shelf. And now, 30 years later, people are rediscovering it again for the first time. And I think it basically he went along saying it boosted his confidence and made him want to keep writing because he was thinking about quitting for a while. Right. And I think he's going to Scares That Care this weekend with his box of books and everything. That's really cool.
That's so cool. Yeah, Ronald Kelly's a great guy, and I think Stygian Sky Media is going to be posting his memoir or publishing his.
Oh
memoir.
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah.
Oh, what's it called? Southern Fried something.
Yeah, it's
Southern Fried Horror or something like that.
Terrified and Southern Fried or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Terrified, something like that. Yeah, it's really catchy.
He was such a nice guy.
That was great. Yeah, it was a great interview, and he sent us all.
A nice guy.
He is.
Nice guy.
Yeah. And he sent us his short story collection all about spiders right after that.
Yeah, so. The arachnophobia one.
Yeah.
Is that sick stuff or?
No. That was last year, wasn't it? The one he just released had 8 different spider stories. What was it called? I just reviewed it.
I don't know if I could do that.
They're all about. Did they feel like they were different, being all about spiders? Were they different? Very.
Yeah, I think 4 were older ones and then 4 newer ones. Each one just different, a rare spider in one, and another one that a doctor got bit by a spider, didn't know why he was losing control of his body and all this. So each one was
like a Spanish title, wasn't it? La Sangria or something like that.
Yeah, yes, something I think I messed up in the review several times because it was. Yeah, but.
So, do you have any other recommendations you want to give for any upcoming authors or anything like that?
I mean, people definitely need to be reading Stephen Graham Jones. He had that breakout hit with The Only Good Indians, but yeah. I mean, honestly, everything he writes is good, and all the way back from his first stuff that he put out to now, the whole back catalog of. And he writes a lot of short stories too. He has a lot of short stories and anthologies. He has a collection that I think is out of print. But definitely be reading that. Sarah Reed came out with The Bone Weaver's Orchard. I think she won a Stoker for that. Pretty sure she did.
Either that or Ladies of Horror Fiction. She won something like that.
Pretty sure she won a Stoker for The Bone Weaver's Orchard, and I recommend that book all the time. It's really good. Dark academia and a child protagonist and insects and all kinds of fun stuff. Did I say Anya Allborn?
Not yet.
I did. Didn't I?
You did earlier with
what you said earlier, but
with
yeah.
Ashley.
Yeah, I really want people
She's-
to read all of Anya's stuff.
Is she the one that wrote Seed? Is that
She
hers?
wrote
Seed
and
Brother,
Within These Walls. And she has a new one called Dark Across the Bay, which is like a domestic thriller that's really good.
I've heard that Brother is sort of kind of like Texas Chainsaw in a way. Not that there's a chainsaw killer, but just the aesthetic of it kind of.
It's a cannibalistic family.
Yeah.
And there's a kid that grows up in the family that kind of doesn't want any part of it.
Right.
Yeah, I agree, Rain.
I've read Only Good Indians and his new one, My Heart is a Chainsaw, and they were both really good.
Right.
Yeah, he has a very unique voice. Like
He does.
And since I've seen him read a bunch of times now, I can hear his voice in my head too while I'm reading, which is really cool because he has a very unique reading style.
We were talking about we sort of write our reviews the way we talk. I feel like he writes his books the way he talks.
I think so too. It really comes through.
The Only Good Indians, it took me a little bit to get used to his writing style, but once I got used to it, it was great.
Yeah.
That's definitely in the running for my favorite book I've read this year.
The Heart is a Chainsaw or
Only Good Indians. I read it February, I think.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It just blew me away. I've never read anything like it.
Yeah, no, it's definitely unique to him, and I think that's my favorite part of all the horror authors that I really like gravitate to and start building a collection, like Paul Tremblay. Like no one writes like Paul Tremblay. Like he has his own style, and his fingerprints are on everything he does. So when you read, something like his pandemic one that came out, this.
Lone Survivor, something like that.
Survivor Song.
Yeah, that's it.
And then you read like A Cabin at the End of the World. Like those two, they're different stories, but he focuses on the same kind of like core themes, which are threaded through a lot of his books, like Disappearance at Devil's Rock, and you could just find like family themes and themes about loss and grief, and I really like his style too.
I've only read one of his, Cabin at the End of the World, and it was okay. I need to pick up his. I want to read his short story collection. Is it called Growing Things? I think it's
Growing
called.
Things. Yeah, that's a huge recommendation for me, is to start with an author that has a huge collection. Like take Chuck Wendig or somebody who has a big back catalog, Joe Lansdale or whatever, and find their short stories, because then you can just kind of start getting a feel for what you're going to find with them. And you can just, pop one or two here and there and start and finish in the same breath.
And anthologies are good too, to discover new authors you haven't read before.
I love that.
Short little dip into their style and whatnot. It's perfect.
Yeah, it's perfect. I love that.
If there's anybody watching that has, or that's thinking about getting into reviewing, do you have any tips and tricks for people just starting out wanting to get into it?
I started just on Bookstagram, like reviewing for people. Well, at first it started with my mom on Goodreads. I literally was just posting my reviews to my mother on Goodreads, and then she was writing them for me. And then as people start following you, like on Instagram or whatever, and interacting with you and engaging with you and being like, oh, I love that recommendation, thank you so much, or I hated that book, and you start like getting into conversation, it becomes like so fun, and so that's how I started, was just getting into a community of like-minded readers, and just jumping in with your thoughts, your opinions, your reading experience, because no one interacts with the book in the same way. So your opinion matters, Do
you get mad if you see a review that just says that sucked and once without giving a reason?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why, but that just irritates me if someone says, nope, 1 star, this sucks. Well, tell me why though.
Yeah.
I it's fine if you didn't like it, but tell me why.
Yeah. Or they just like, they'll give a horror book 1 star and be like, this wasn't scary.
Yeah.
Is that how we measure it?
It's also kind of the opposite. Like if you give it 5 stars and say, this was amazing. Why was it amazing?
Yeah.
Like you don't have to write a book about it, just a sentence or two. This was amazing because the writing was awesome, or I love the characters, or something like that.
Yeah, even 1 sentence, can do it. Some people are really creative with their short blurbs too. I'm thinking of like Glenn Rolfe. If you follow Glenn Rolfe on Goodreads, like he has a great way of selling you on a book in like 3 lines.
Yeah.
Yeah. It'll just be like,
Those-
this was a really good time. I enjoyed this character and blah, blah, blah. Done.
Yeah, like book reviews, they don't have to be, big diatribes, just a couple sentences, and it'll help the author out,
Right.
and all that stuff, and you get your opinions out there instead of just rating it. This sucked. This was great. Just tell us why a little bit.
I
Yeah.
like it a lot.
Yeah, I liked it a lot.
I like it a lot.
That was great. Yeah, I also think like if you want to start reviewing for bigger platforms or websites or something, just pitch to them. There's always go to like a magazine, go to like Rue Morgue or Scream or wherever, just go find their contact information, email the editor and just be like, hey, I would love to write a review of such and such book. Here's why I think it would be a good fit for your magazine. Here's a sample of my writing. What do you say? I mean, it can't hurt. And authors do this all the time and talk about how they're rejected like every day, and just build up your immunity to rejections. And then eventually someone's going to say yes. And there you go.
Is that how you got in like Rue magazine and Scream and all that stuff?
I did pitch an article to Rue Morgue, but Scream also solicited me. They had all male reviewers and they were looking for a woman. So they solicited me. And Cemetery Dance, the same thing. I guess the editor Blue had been following me for some time on Instagram and emailed me and asked if I would like to write reviews for them. Just because it was a really male-dominated market like 5 years ago, and it still is, but I think it's becoming less. So
yeah, I see a lot of fellow reviewers who are females have booktube channels and all that stuff. So
yeah, it's
like,
great.
I mean, I wasn't around 5 years ago, so I can't speak on that, but I feel like it's pretty good mixed bag for the most part, at least in the small community we're in.
Yeah, it's definitely changing.
Spooky Noodles, Nick has a question on here, and you kind of talked about it earlier, but any advice for others trying to reach out to reviewers?
Lots of question marks. I know it's hard, you guys. So I think the easiest way is to engage with people. So if you go to Twitter or you go to Bookstagram, like don't just immediately DM them or ask them if they want to review your book. Like get to know the community that you're in. Like Ashley and I did not parachute into the Bookstagram community and start selling them Nightworms products. Like we literally had been a part of the community, made a ton of friends, talk to them, interact with them, engage on their photographs, blah, blah, blah. I will tell you all of the books that I have read from people who were just starting out. Take Rain, for example, who was in the chat earlier. Rain is an awesome human being who I interact with all the time. So when he asked me if he could send me his book, yes, hell yes, send me your book. Yeah. I know you because we've interacted together. You're not just parachuting into my DMs and like, read this, just
with a bunch of exclamation points.
Yeah, make some friends, be friends.
I probably have some. I just keep them just.
And yeah, like when authors that I've talked to, like Ross and like Marcella and people like that, when they ask me if I want to read their book, it usually goes to the top of the stack.
Yeah.
Instead of just sitting around for who knows how long.
Yeah, the ones I interact with that I've built a rapport with, that we actually chat about other things. Like Ross, I'll put him at top. Kev Harrison, I'll put at the top whenever he's. Eric Varaka.
His books are so good too.
Yeah. He actually put me in Paths Left Untrodden, his short story. I got a little.
Did he kill you off?
No.
Okay.
I can't talk. Acknowledgement. Yeah. And like Eric Varaka, I'll put his stuff first too.
I love Eric Varaka.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. And so like just have a presence, like I know it's hard to be on social media when you have other jobs, when you're writing, you want to focus on your writing. And there are authors who don't participate in social media, and I totally get it. I mean, Twitter is fucking toxic. Like, let's just say.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's off the air why I think it is, but still.
Yeah, no, it just is. It's awful. And the more you interact there, the more you see it. So
yeah.
Hi, Rain.
You just have to find the people. I mean, and once you're in the community, you'll know the people who are the good people and who are the rotten eggs, so to speak.
Yeah, and just curate your feed. But I definitely, just want to say that engagement is key and just making relationships and networking. What did we do before social media? What? We went to book cons and festivals, and we schmoozed and we small talked and we got to know people. And then you would write them like an actual snail mail letter, and you would, ask them if they would read your book, and you would send them like probably a manuscript like that big. But now you can just digitally zip over a file, but that doesn't mean that relationship part goes away. So that's what's important.
And like you were talking about earlier, taking the selfies and putting your own face out there, get to know the author. There's a person behind the author. It's not just read my book, read my book. You might have kids and do stuff with your kids, or talk about your wife, or the movie you loved the other day, or just be a person.
Just be a person.
Just be a person instead of a robot trying to.
I mean, that's the thing. Like reviewers, like I have a full-time job, and I have a full-time family. I do this for fun on the side. Yeah, and my TBR list is a lifetime long. So talk to me before you just say, "Hey, here's my stuff," and expect something. That's the other thing too. Like I know when I first started doing it, I got a few books from some people. Then they bugged me each week. Hey, did you read this yet? And I'm like, I'll get to it when I get to it. I'm sorry. I'm not going to do it at work. I can't do it at work. So yeah.
I've done where, like, before they even agree to take the book, I'll say, I can't promise a time frame.
Right.
I'll get to it sometime, but I'm not going to say I'll get to it in a month or 2 months, because I don't want to promise you and then break that promise, and then you're expecting it to be done then and it's not done then. And if you're cool with that, I'll get to it eventually. Then sure, I'll take your book. But if you're not cool with that, then this isn't going to work out. Seek someone else who's going to get to it quicker than I am, maybe.
Well, that's really good, Brad, too. That's a really good point to make, is that setting those expectations is really key. So communication is key. You have to tell the author, like, this is for review consideration. Like, I say that because I may not ever get to it. And that's just, I want them to know that. Like, sure, you can send me this free book. However, I did change my review policy just a few weeks ago or whatever, and I'm not going to take free books anymore. I'm just going to buy my own review copies, because it just takes the pressure off of me. I bought it with my own money. I get to choose if I'm going to read that or not. And I don't know. I want to support authors anyways and just buy their stuff. I don't, that's just where I'm at right now. That doesn't mean it works for everybody, but for me, that's right. How I'm going to do that.
Yeah, there's no obligation at all if you just go out and buy it yourself.
Yeah.
Says Brad, who everybody sends them everything.
No, that's no. Kevin. Kevin gets stacks of books every day. Kevin's great though. I love Beard. He's awesome.
I think I buy 90% of mine. Probably 85 to 90% of mine I buy. And the only ones I get are from Ross and Kev and Eric LaRocca, and people I've talked to before in the past.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nick's asking, should you get Twitter? Not necessarily. I mean, I know you have Instagram, but I don't think Twitter's a necessity. But whatever social media you have, just be that presence and just talk to people and comment on their pictures and whatnot. You don't have to have Twitter, I don't think.
No.
Why'd you make me get it?
Because I needed my buddy on there.
You made me get it back in November, and I'm still cussing you for it.
But you got the review request. Now they're spamming you with them.
Yeah, that's true. So
you met Sam Weird Punk Books that way too. So
exactly, yeah.
Yeah, and also you can never do social media. I mean, Craig Davidson, aka Nick Cutter, used to be on Twitter, and then he just dropped out. He was like, forget it, I'm done. And that's fine. He's not, he can promote his books in other vehicles. He does magazines and interviews. He did Celebrate Horror. He will do other things, and that's fine. Social media is a huge time suck. Venture into it at your own risk.
Yeah, I did find out time. Yeah, I mean, I did find a lot of good stuff though on Twitter. Like you said, Sam Richard over at Weird Punk Books. I consider him a friend now because we hooked up with about some books and stuff. So there are some good finds, some good things about Twitter. Not always.
Yeah, I mean, Instagram is a less tame version, and it's not as interactive. So if that's more your speed, and you just want to post some pictures and just comment on other people's stuff, I mean, that's a good way to get your social media presence linked up without having too much commitment. You can let it sit for a few days and nobody cares.
Right.
I feel like people are nicer on Instagram than they are on
Twitter.
They
are. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, you have a very pretty picture. That's nice.
Yeah.
They're just like, I hate you.
So speaking of all this social media, as we start winding down here, where can everyone find you, Sadie?
On all the platforms.
I am on Facebook, but I don't use it. I'm just gonna put that out there. I've gone on there and had like 20 DMs on there, and I felt bad about it. But I honestly, I don't check it. So Facebook is really just auto-populated from whatever I'm doing on Instagram. So I am Mother Horror on Instagram. I am Mother Horror Sadie Hartman on Twitter. I now have a TikTok. And
You're one of the cool kids.
I know. My 15-year-old was like, Mom, what does that say about you that you have a TikTok and I don't? Like, that's weird. Where
you can reverse that, say, what does that say about him?
Yeah, you don't have a TikTok.
Yeah.
He's too cool for school. Nightworms is also has its own website. We have our own Instagram and Twitter. We have our own YouTube channel where we do interviews. We just interviewed Ronald Malfi and Richard Chismar for our August package, so look for that. Where else? I think that's it. Goodreads.
If there's a social media, Sadie's probably on there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a good
Talking
chance.
about horror. That's like all I ever do.
I think that's good enough. That's enough places to find her. Stop
I
stalking
have a
her.
Patreon too.
I do have most of those links. I've got Nightworms linked in your Twitter and Instagram. You and Ashley down in the description if people want to check out. And if they're not following you for whatever reason, I'm sure if they're following me and Jay, they're already following you and Sadie.
And I'm really bad too. I got to make sure I'm following her. I'm pretty bad with that.
You are following me. I follow you too. Also, my battery is gonna die.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I think we're good. Any parting words, anyone?
Anything else you want to say?
Horror.
There you go.
Read more horror.
Yeah.
Sadie, thank you so much for coming to join us. And
Thank
Ashley,
you so much for having me.
Watch the replay.
Yeah,
this was a lot of fun.
I love your intro too. By the way, it's really cool.
Mine.
Yeah, to the show. It's great.
Oh, yeah, the
little video. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that was cool.
We spent all the budget on that.
It's good.
All right, that's been another great episode of Paper Cuts for Sadie and Ashley. Nightworms. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Thanks for everyone in the chat. You guys are awesome.
Till we meet again. Love you, Brad.
Love you, Jay.